Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into a topic that hits close to home for many of us: nationalism versus humanitarianism in the 21st century. Now, nationalism in its purest form is all about unity, pride, and a sense of shared identity. It's that feeling you get when your team wins, or when you see your flag flying high. But what happens when that pride morphs into something more sinister, when it becomes aggressive nationalism or even jingoism? This my nation first mentality can lead to some pretty dark places. First off, it can result in the dehumanization of others. Nationalistic rhetoric often turns opposing groups into enemies, stripping them of their humanity and making it easier to justify violence against them. Secondly, it prioritizes national interests over human lives. Decisions driven by national security or economic interests can overshadow the urgent need to protect civilians and provide aid. And finally, it can lead to the suppression of dissent. Governments, in the name of national unity, may suppress voices that advocate for peace and humanitarian intervention. Let's talk about the crushing weight of collateral damage. Wars, fueled by nationalism, leave devastation far beyond the battlefield. Civilian casualties are staggering. Take the war in Ukraine, for example. Thousands of civilians have lost their lives, and the actual numbers are likely much higher. The widespread use of explosive weapons in populated areas is a major contributor to this toll. And it's not just Ukraine. The conflict in Yemen has caused immense civilian suffering too. Airstrikes and ground fighting have led to countless deaths and injuries. Organizations like ECLID provide detailed data on these harrowing events. Wars force millions to flee their homes, creating massive refugee crises. The war in Ukraine has created the fastest-growing refugee crisis in Europe since World War II. And let's not forget the Syrian civil war, which has resulted in millions of refugees and long-term displacement. Nationalistic agendas can impede humanitarian access, preventing aid from reaching those in need. Blockades and restrictions on aid delivery are often used as weapons of war, exacerbating the suffering. Humanitarian corridors are targeted or blocked, hindering the delivery of essential supplies. Wars destroy critical infrastructure too. Hospitals, schools, water systems, everything a community needs to survive and thrive can be wiped out. This leaves communities vulnerable to disease and starvation. In conflict zones, the destruction of medical facilities severely limits access to healthcare, leading to preventable deaths. And let's not overlook the long-term trauma and psychological impact of war, especially on children. Exposure to violence, displacement, and loss can lead to severe trauma and mental health problems that last for generations. So, what's the balance here? National pride and sovereignty aren't inherently negative, but they should never come at the expense of human life and dignity. International law and humanitarian principles must be upheld, even in times of conflict. Diplomacy and conflict resolution should be prioritized over military intervention. And humanitarian aid must be delivered impartially and without political consideration. The world needs to constantly push for accountability for those that commit war crimes. The pressure of nationalism over humanitarianism is a dangerous force. By acknowledging the devastating consequences of this imbalance, we can work towards a world where human life is valued above all else. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments below. Until next time, take care.